Have you ever wondered if the numbers in your life have the power to shape your destiny? You might think this is just a superstition, a distant belief from ancient times. But what if I told you that hidden within these numbers is a unique energy, a force that can change the course of your life? Would you be willing to listen? In the traditions of Eastern spirituality and the gentle practice of mindfulness, everything in our world, every phenomenon, holds a vibration, an energy of its own. Even the simplest numbers, which seem so ordinary, carry a coded message that we can decode to better understand ourselves and our path in life. You'll come to realize that numbers are not just arbitrary figures. They are mirrors reflecting who we are and what we are becoming. Today, we will explore some of these seemingly harmless numbers, which actually contain profound lessons and insights. Insights that could reshape your understanding of your life and your journey. So, are you ready to open your mind and uncover the mysteries that these numbers hold? This is not merely superstition. In the tradition of Eastern spirituality and the gentle art of mindfulness, the energy of numbers is more than an abstract idea. In fact, the Buddha once reminded us, all things arise with mind as the forerunner. If that is true, then even the number on our doorway cannot be separate from our karmic web. The ancients believed in omens, not because they feared the world, but because they watched it closely. They listened to the quiet voice of synchronicity, and they honored the subtle languages of the universe. In today's world, we often think of numbers as rational, sterile, disconnected from emotion. But ask anyone who has ever encountered repetitive numbers, whether in dreams, on clocks, or doorways, and they will tell you there is something more. In Eastern traditions, this awareness is sharpened by centuries of meditative insight and mindfulness practice. Every vibration, every pattern, every form carries its own dharma. The old Zen saying, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears," can take many forms. Sometimes the teacher arrives as a human being. Other times, it's a sound, a loss, a symbol, or even a number. If your house has a number that keeps bringing unrest or unease, perhaps it is not a punishment, but a teacher. A call to look deeper. I remember a Buddhist elder in Oregon who once shared a story with me. He moved into a home with the number 27 and was plagued by restless sleep, constant repairs, and a growing tension in his family. But rather than move out, he moved inward. He meditated at the front door every day, placed a bowl of water beneath the number to absorb negative chai, and recited the Heart Sutra. Over time, not only did the tension ease, but his awareness deepened. The house didn't change, he said, but I did. In this mystery of numbers, the greatest treasure is not fear or avoidance, but mindfulness, the ability to see our surroundings as mirrors of our mind. As Zen Master Dogen once wrote, "To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be awakened by all things." We often think of prosperity as the result of effort, of knowledge, of wise decisions, and certainly these are all vital. But if the space in which we dwell carries vibrations that are out of sync with our soul's purpose, then even our best efforts can feel strangely ineffective. This is where the Dharma meets the everyday. In Buddhist teachings, karma is not fate. It is not a punishment. It is a pattern, a consequence of past actions and present awareness. Our homes are part of our karma. The structure, the land, the number on the mailbox, they all weave into the energetic fabric of our lives. You may have heard the phrase, "Wherever you go, there you are." But what if wherever you are also reflects who you've been? A dear teacher once told me, "If your mind is restless, the walls will echo that restlessness." He wasn't being poetic, he was being precise. The Buddha taught that everything arises from cause and condition, and our living spaces are no exception. If we live in a house marked by numerical frequencies that resonate with past grief, conflict, or spiritual imbalance, we may unknowingly be amplifying those qualities in our life. Take, for example, a couple who lived in a house ending with the number 5. Everything in their lives was just stuck. Not catastrophic, but frozen. Promotions delayed, emotions bottled up, communication muted. When they spoke to a monk, he explained that the number 5, in certain traditions, is tied to rigidity. The couple began daily walking meditations through their home, chanting the Metta Sutta for openness. Within months, movement returned, not because the number changed, but because their relationship with it transformed. In the West, we design homes for function. In the East, homes are sacred geometries, maps of energy, karma, and intention. The great Tibetan yogi Milarepa once meditated in a cave said to be haunted. People feared it, but he made it a temple. Why? Because the ghosts outside cannot harm us more than the ghosts we carry within. So when we look at the numbers on our homes, let us not react with fear but inquiry. What part of ourselves are they speaking to? What lessons are they offering? And how can we meet them, not with avoidance, but with reverence, healing, and transformation? Let us begin by recognizing that no number is truly evil. From a Buddhist perspective, nothing exists inherently as negative. The Dharma teaches us that things are not as they seem, they are as we perceive them. The Buddha himself said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." That means even the most feared number holds no power unless our minds give it such meaning. Numbers, like people, carry karma, but karma is not destiny. It is a process. It's fluid, ever-changing, shaped by intention and mindfulness. In the West, we may label the number 13 as unlucky, while in parts of Asia, the number 4 is feared because it sounds like the word for death. But are these numbers truly cursed, or have we simply inherited fear without investigation? A lay practitioner I met during a retreat in Arizona shared his story. His house was number 444, considered deeply unlucky in many East Asian cultures. He experienced health issues, business failures, and even considered selling the house. But instead of fleeing, he started each morning by lighting incense at the threshold and reciting a prayer for release from inherited fear. He added a wind chime near the entry, believing that sound purifies space. Months passed and slowly, peace returned. What changed? The number remained the same, but his consciousness around it shifted. There is a powerful teaching from the Diamond Sutra. All phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow. If we can see a number for what it truly is, a symbol, a vibration, a doorway, it no longer needs to control us. We can walk through it with awareness. No matter what your house number is, ask yourself, what belief do I attach to it? Does it make me anxious, or does it inspire me? If fear arises, don't suppress it. Investigate it. Trace it back. Often what we fear is not the number, but what we have not yet healed within ourselves. In this way, numbers become our teachers. They awaken the shadows in us so we may bring them into the light. And from there, transformation begins. Let us walk together through 5 house numbers traditionally viewed as inauspicious. Not with fear, but with clarity. With each, we will explore not only the challenge, but the opportunity. These numbers do not carry doom. They carry the weight of unconscious patterns. And when we bring them into consciousness, their power dissolves. I once sat with a temple caretaker in Kyoto who had lived in the same home for more than 50 years. The number on his gate? A combination said to bring sorrow and stagnation. When I asked why he had never changed it, he smiled gently and said, "Because it helped me see myself." He shared stories of loss, of years when business failed and health declined, and how those difficulties led him to walk the Buddhist path. At first, and he said, I thought I had to escape the house. Later, I realized I had to understand it. He began to place calligraphy scrolls with the Heart Sutra in the main hall. He rang a small bell before entering and exiting. He turned the house into a living meditation, This is what karmic mirrors do. They don't reflect our perfect self. They show us our patterns, our tendencies, our wounds. A house number that keeps drawing your attention might be a gentle bell from the universe, asking you to wake up, not run away. Master Shunryu Suzuki once said, "Each of you is perfect the way you are, and you can use a little improvement." That's the spirit we must bring to these numbers. Not dread, not superstition, but deep seeing, compassionate seeing. Whether your home number is 16, 7, 5, 30, or 27, it does not define your destiny. It offers a doorway into awareness. And if you step through that doorway with mindfulness, you may discover that the house has been teaching you all along. As Master Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded us, no mud, no lotus. The so-called unlucky numbers are not mud we must avoid. They are mud we must embrace, for they contain the seeds of awakening. What you're about to hear is not a list of warnings. It's a collection of mirrors. Let's gaze into each one with presence, compassion, and curiosity. When we speak of house number 16, it's easy to say it brings turmoil to one's financial and relational life. But rather than only focusing on the external struggles, let's delve into the deeper conflict it represents. The clash between independence, symbolized by the number 1, and belonging, symbolized by the number 6. The number 1 stands for individualism, self-reliance, and leadership. It's the number of independence, of carving your own path and making your own decisions. It's the I in the equation of life, the force that drives us to achieve our goals. On the other hand, the number 6 represents family, nurturing, and community. It's the number of connectedness, of caring for others and being cared for, the harmony that binds us together as part of something bigger than ourselves. In Buddhism, we often speak of the tension between self and other. The Buddha taught that to attain enlightenment, we must move beyond the ego and find balance in our connections to others. Yet this balance is hard to achieve when we feel torn between the desire to stand on our own and the yearning for emotional connection. House number 16 can reflect the struggle, an inner pull between the desire for independence and the longing for a supportive community. I remember a conversation with a wise monk in Kyoto who once explained that many people experience suffering because they live out of balance between these forces. We must learn, he said, to be independent in thought but interconnected in heart. For this monk, the number 16 became a mirror to his own inner conflict. He told me that he had spent years meditating on his personal freedom while feeling disconnected from others. It wasn't until he practiced the middle way, embracing both his independence and his interdependence with others, that he found true peace. Number 16 invites us to explore where we are resisting the natural flow of life between these two forces. Can we be both self-reliant and loving toward others? Can we find the courage to be ourselves without cutting off the support we need from those around us? In the words of the great Zen master Dogen, to study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be awakened by all things. When we let go of the need to define ourselves solely by our independence, we open ourselves to the boundless support and love that life has to offer. Number 16 teaches us that the struggle is not to find one or the other, but to harmonize both. When we look at number 7, often associated with the ghost month in Eastern belief, it's tempting to label it simply as haunted or spiritual. But rather than see it as an external force, we must ask ourselves, have we truly made peace with the past? The number 7 in many cultures, particularly in Buddhism, is closely tied to spiritual transition and the unseen forces that linger around us. It is the number of mystery, of the things that have not yet been resolved, be it in this life or the next. In Eastern traditions, the ghost month is a time when spirits roam freely, seeking closure or release from their earthly attachments. This phenomenon reminds us that unresolved grief, whether personal or ancestral, can weigh heavily on our lives. I once sat with a woman who had lived in a house with the number 7. For years, she felt burdened by unresolved grief over the loss of her parents. The house, she said, felt cold at times, as if something was just out of reach, something not fully laid to rest. At first, she attributed it to the house itself, believing it might have been cursed or haunted. But when she spoke with a Buddhist teacher, the answer wasn't what she expected. The teacher told her, "The ghosts outside are reflections of the ghosts within. What you resist persists." She began to meditate more deeply on her past, not as something to run from, but as something to embrace with compassion. She placed photos of her parents in a special corner of her home, lit incense, and spoke their names aloud every morning, offering them peace. As she meditated, she came to realize that her resistance to the past was creating the very tension she sought to escape. In Buddhism, the path of healing begins with acceptance, accepting the impermanence of life and the fact that everything must pass. The Buddha's teachings on impermanence, anicca, remind us that nothing is permanent, not even our suffering. Number 7, with its connections to the unseen, asks us to look inward. It is a reflection of the grief and unresolved karma we may be holding, and a call to release it. Just as in the Zen tradition, where practitioners sweep the temple floor to purify the space, we must cleanse our minds and hearts of past grief. We must make peace with what has gone before so we can move forward in the present. Number 7 serves as a reminder that only by letting go of what haunts us can we truly step into the present moment with clarity and peace. As the Buddha said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Number 7 invites us to put down the coal of past hurts and move forward in peace. When we do, we transform not just our home, but our entire life. The number 5 often symbolizes change, freedom, and adaptability. Yet when it appears in a house number, it can paradoxically signify resistance to change. This energy is tied to a fear of letting go, a reluctance to move forward, and a stubborn attachment to the past. Number 5 can often reflect a feeling of being stuck, unable to evolve or break out of old patterns that no longer serve us. This resistance shows up in many ways. It might manifest as a family or individual who clings to outdated beliefs, routines, or ways of thinking. It might show up as a person who resists taking risks, afraid of failure or judgment. And it can even manifest as someone whose career or personal life feels stagnant, no matter how hard they work. A story that comes to mind is from a woman I met during a meditation retreat. She lived in a home numbered 5. For years, she found herself working hard but getting nowhere. She felt emotionally stuck, unable to fully connect with her partner or grow in her career. She consulted with a local monk who explained that number 5 represented rigidity and an unwillingness to embrace new possibilities. The monk shared a simple practice with her. Each time she felt stuck, she would sit down and meditate on the impermanence of all things. "Don't be afraid to let go," he told her. "The things you hold on to, whether old habits, fears, or people, are the things keeping you from flowing with life." As she meditated on impermanence, she began to release her fears and attachments. She started embracing new challenges at work and letting go of emotional baggage from past relationships. Over time, her career flourished, and her personal life became more joyful and free. The number 5, which once represented resistance to change, became a reminder to embrace the flow of life. The Buddha taught the root of suffering is attachment. Number 5 serves as a reflection of that attachment, both to the past and to the fear of the unknown. When we break free from these bonds, we create space for transformation. House number 30 is often associated with challenges involving legal matters, contracts, and disputes. This number carries the energy of chaos, often indicating unresolved karmic debts related to justice, authority, or power dynamics. When this number appears in your home, it may reflect an inner conflict with fairness, boundaries, and a fear of being overwhelmed by life's challenges. I met a businessman who lived in a house numbered 30. Despite his outward success, he often found himself involved in legal disputes, from contractual disagreements to ongoing family conflicts. Each time he thought he had cleared up one issue, another one seemed to pop up. He began to wonder, why was he constantly struggling with matters of justice, fairness, and legal responsibilities? A Buddhist monk shared an insight with him. You are not merely dealing with legal problems. You are dealing with karmic imbalances in your relationship to authority and fairness. He explained that number 30 often represents unresolved karmic contracts, both in this life and possibly carried over from past ones. These karmic entanglements manifest as conflicts that never seem to resolve, keeping us stuck in a cycle of stress and frustration. The monk advised him to meditate on forgiveness, not just of others but of himself. He had been carrying the weight of guilt, blame, and unresolved anger, and these emotions were reflecting in his external world. By practicing metta, loving kindness meditation, forgiving himself for past mistakes, and releasing his attachment to being right, he began to see positive changes. Legal battles that had once seemed endless began to resolve, and a deep sense of peace washed over him. Number 30 invites us to examine our relationship with authority, justice, and fairness. Are we carrying unresolved anger, resentment, or guilt that we haven't yet healed? If so, these unresolved issues can manifest in our lives as legal struggles, financial setbacks, or feelings of being controlled. By releasing the weight of past karmic ties and embracing compassion, we clear the path for harmony and resolution. The number 27 is particularly significant when it comes to financial struggles and spiritual disturbances. This number suggests a karmic imbalance, particularly related to the pursuit of wealth and spiritual fulfillment. It reflects the disconnection between material success and spiritual peace, showing that financial wealth cannot fill the void of inner emptiness. A friend of mine, who lived in a home numbered 27, once confided in me that no matter how hard he worked, he could never seem to get ahead financially. He had a good job, a loving family, and a comfortable home, but he always felt unsettled. His financial situation, while stable, never seemed to grow. He felt like he was always chasing something but could never catch it. After spending some time in meditation, he realized that his attachment to money and material success had created a deep spiritual disturbance. He had been measuring his worth by his income, by the things he owned, rather than by the peace within him. He decided to make a conscious effort to bring balance into his life by practicing generosity, both in his material resources and in his time. He began to volunteer at local charities and made it a point to be more mindful in his daily life. Through his practice, he discovered that the key to resolving his financial karma was not through effort alone, but through spiritual contentment and a balanced relationship with wealth. As he began to let go of his attachment to money, his financial situation improved, more opportunities appeared, and his life felt more abundant in every way. Number 27 teaches us that wealth is not merely material, it is spiritual. When we align our material pursuits with our higher purpose, we unlock true prosperity. As the Buddha taught, wealth is not found in abundance, but in the absence of desire. In this final scene, we explore practical ways to rebalance the energy of your home, regardless of its number. The key lies in the intention and the awareness you bring to your living space. Through mindfulness, decluttering, and simple rituals, you can shift the energy of your environment and create a sanctuary that supports your growth. A simple practice I suggest is to regularly walk through your home with intention, noticing the areas that feel heavy or stagnant. Use sound, such as ringing a bell or singing, to purify these spaces. Place fresh flowers in corners that need extra attention and use candles or incense to create an atmosphere of clarity and peace. These actions are not about changing the number on your door, but about shifting your inner awareness and creating a sacred space that reflects your highest potential. So, as we've seen, each number, whether it seems fortunate or unfortunate, has its own unique story. These numbers are not curses or bad luck. They are life lessons. They are opportunities for growth, for understanding, and for awakening. Every number is a reflection of our choices, our actions, and our potential to transform. In learning to understand and embrace these numbers, we begin to realize that our destiny is not fixed. It's an open path, full of possibilities, and we, with mindfulness and awareness, can change the energy of our home, of ourselves, and of our lives. If you found value in the teachings shared today, we would truly appreciate it if you could share your thoughts and reflections below. Help us spread this wisdom to those around you. And don't forget to subscribe to Buddhist Wisdom Daily so you don't miss out on more insightful teachings in the future. Every number can become a teacher, guiding us toward awakening. All we need to do is open our hearts and learn. Join us in this journey of self-discovery, where every number is a chance to align with the Dharma and find true peace. May your path be clear, and may your heart be open.